A tornado warning for Halifax County, at least parts of the county there. You can see the red polygon that has shown up. Now, the thunderstorm has moved into an area that's more conducive for storms to take on rotation, and you can definitely see a little bit of a hook right here that has developed just to the north and to the west of Enfield, and that's probably where the rotation is going to show up. We'll look at the reflectivity or the velocities in just a moment, but this tornado warning is in effect until 4:15 for central Halifax County. It is moving to the northeast at 45 miles per hour. It is a radar indicated rotation, and this storm will be around Halifax around 3:55 this afternoon. So let me turn that little telestration off. Let me move over to the velocities, and you can see that little bit of a couplet there that's showing up. So that's why the National Weather Service issued the tornado warning. You can definitely see that little bit of rotation right about here. And so let me zoom in and see what communities, what's nearby. There's Enfield just to the south and east of that rotation. It's very tiny. It's along I-95, so it's just crossing I-95 right now, and it will continue to move to the northeast, 45 miles per hour. You have State Road 1219, you have State Road 1214, and then in its path, you have Beaver Dam, you have the Delmar community, you have Heathsville, you have Allen Grove and also P Hill that are in the tornado warning. So if you're here, your community, you need to go to your safe spot, which Kat will talk about in just a moment. I'll toss it over to her. But let me broaden out the view and we'll do a storm track and see what communities will be impacted between now and about 4:15. So we'll take the storm track from where the couplet is, move to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour. And so we're looking at being around Beaver Dam at 4 o'clock, the Delmar community at 4:03, Allen Grove at 4:05, P Hill at 4:06, the Ruggles community at 4:06, Pender at 4:08, Halifax at 4:09, Tillery at 4:13, Mudcastle at 4:15, Boone's Crossroads at 4:21. It's a radar indicated tornado. The couplet is very tiny, no indication that there is anything on the ground. Let me take a look at a couple other products here. We are looking at the severe threats. And you see that little bit of red showing up. And we didn't see this with the other tornado warning in Warren County earlier, but we are seeing it here, showing signs of rotation. There's the computer indicating rotation, that little red jot you see right there. And then the purple you see right here, that's the indication of some small hail. So there is some potential rotation showing up. Let's change over to rotation detector. And there is a little bit stronger rotation showing up with this storm. You can see the legend and where you see the edge of the legend here where some of the lighter green is showing up. That's on the strong side of weak, close to being strong. So this is a little bit more decent than what we saw over the Warren County storm. And it continues to head toward Halifax. And again, it should be in your area about 3:55 this afternoon. Let me go back to reflectivity and let me do a time lapse. Let me broaden it out so I can show you the evolution of this. And so let's go back in time when it was a severe thunderstorm warning. This is part of the cluster that moved through Wake County and Franklin County. And we told you it was moving into an atmosphere that's more conducive for rotation to take place. And it certainly has taken on some rotation. You can see it's severe thunderstorm warning, then boom, you get the tornado warning that has just showed up. Let's go back in time and take a look at the velocities. And so I'm sure at this point at 3:43, you're seeing excuse me, a little bit of a couplet starting to form here. And I'm sure the National Weather Service was eyeing this thinking, we need to take a closer look at this and watch to see how it evolves, because over time, it sustains itself, and then, it takes on a little better look, perhaps. The greens become a little bit more bright, indicating the winds are a little bit stronger. Let's take a look at the sample of the winds, 40 miles per hour there. This is about 10, so it's about 50 mile per hour shear. But the greens, remember, are the raindrops moving toward the radar site, which is located near Clayton, I should say, and the reds moving away. So it's a very tiny couplet, very weak storm, but there's the potential rotation showing up there nonetheless. Now, it is in Halifax County. It is heading toward Northampton County. There are no signs that, it may maintain its integrity as it heads into Northampton County. But if you're watching from Jackson and Conway and the Woodland community, maybe even Rich Square, you need to watch this because if it does ramp up, it could be heading into your community shortly, or at least between 4:15 and about 4:30. So we need to continue to watch this closely because you could be under the threat. But at this point, it's just north of the Enfield community, at least the center of town. And we're looking at Beaver Dam Road now, right about here, being in the line of sight. And also up toward Whitehead Road, that'll be eventually coming into your area because this cell is moving to the northeast and will be eventually crossing those roads. with very heavy rainfall and potential rotation. Let's go back to that product hasn't changed. That product has changed. So now we're seeing the greatest shear or rotation showing up between Hardy Road and Beaver Dam Road. So you need to be in your safe spot. Kat will be talking about that momentarily. Right now, she's put together a storm track. Let's toss it over to her so she can let you guys know what communities will be impacted from the storm between now and about 4:15. Kat?
And we're going to go, into some of the really smaller communities to let you know when you need to be prepared for this rotation to cross by. I did want to mention the rotation has now crossed over I-95. It's east of I-95, just north of the infield community, as Mike was telling you. Delmar 404, so just over 5 minutes from now is when the strongest part of this storm and the greatest potential for a rotation or a tornado to touch down will approach. That'll be around 406, 9 minutes from now for Allen Grove as well as Ruggles. P Hill 407, you've got 10 minutes until the worst of this storm arrives. Go ahead and get into the lowest level of your home and the most interior room right now, so you've got time to prepare. Pender, you've got about 10 minutes to prepare, as well as Halifax. Halifax, 13 minutes from now is when the worst of this storm should arrive. You've got time. Go ahead, gather your pets. Make sure you've got your kids. Get to the lowest level, most interior room. For Boone's Crossroads, around 4:21, 20 minutes from now, and Bryantown just over 20 minutes from now. Let's talk about where you should be headed. When we mention your safe place, we're talking about the lowest level of your home. That is a basement if you have one, or the first floor. If you don't have one, get inside and avoid windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. Think a bathroom, or a laundry room, or an interior coat closet. Those are usually the best places to go in your home. And if you're able to, and you have enough lead time, as I just showed you the storm track, try to get out of your car and go into a sturdier shelter and get inside, sometimes a local gas station or a local church or fast food restaurant is going to be safer than being in your car on the side of the road. A reminder, when we mention watches and warnings, a warning means that the threat is imminent. We are already seeing rotation in Halifax County, and you need to take action on that. The tornado watch is in effect, though, until 7 o'clock in the northeastern part of our viewing area. We did just get new information in a few moments ago that some counties have been cleared from the watch in the northern part of our area, and the severe weather threat is ending in the Triangle, but we continue to monitor rotation for this storm in Halifax County. That tornado warning in effect for another 15 minutes. Meteorologist Mike Mays is standing by with a closer look at the new radar scans. Mike.
We do have a new scan coming out of Wakefield, Virginia, but I want to toss it over to Lena and Dan so we can start the WRAL newscast at 4.
Thanks, Mike.
So let's get started right now. Of course, at 4 o'clock, we have severe thunderstorms and that tornado warning in Halifax County.
Yeah, that is certainly concerning. In effect until 4:15, we're tracking severe storms moving in with the threat of damaging wind gusts and hail.
We have our live camera network up. We have reporters heading out into the field. And of course, as we take a look around, these are not areas affected immediately at this point. Mike and Kat have been keeping you up to date on those. Let's get things back out to them.
Halifax County under the gun right now with a tornado warning. So I switched the radar over to Wakefield, and we get a better view of the velocities, and the couplet's looking a little bit more impressive. You see the reds and the greens. So now that we're using the vantage point of Wakefield, which is northeast of Halifax and Halifax County, Northampton County, we're looking at a different view. So the greens are the raindrops inside the thunderstorm that are moving toward the radar site, which again is in southeastern Virginia. The reds are moving away. So we're getting a better idea. This is much more impressive picture of the rotation that's showing up, and it's higher level rotation. It's probably the mid part of the atmosphere. This is at 4,000 feet, so it's looking a little bit more impressive aloft than it is closer to the ground, but you get an idea where that rotation is. You get a little closer view. It's over Delmar, P Hill, Allen Grove, and the Beaver Dam community. And if we switch over to the reflectivity, you're not seeing the definitive hook. So let me go, well, actually, it just jumped back to the Raleigh radar. So let me go back to Wakefield, and it's pretty much showing the same view. We'll take a look at the severe threats, and it's showing just some hail in the vicinity. It's no longer showing the rotation. Let me switch over to the Raleigh radar, and it has not updated yet. So the threat is heavy rainfall, some small hail, and the potential for a tornado. And again, we switch back to the velocities, and you can definitely see where that couplet or rotation is showing up right about here, right in the center part of Halifax County and on the doorstep of Halifax. So as I zoom in, in and we take a look, it's centered over the Beaver Dam community, Del Mar, Allen Grove, Ruggles, Pea Hill, Pender, and soon to be moving into Halifax. And you can also notice in this view, there are no lightning strikes. And we're not talking about cloud to ground lightning. There could be cloud to cloud, but there's no cloud to ground lightning strikes that the radar does pick up on. And this will eventually be making its way toward Halifax. And I'm thinking this will probably be continued up into Northampton County. I'm looking at the chat room for Wakefield, and they have not issued a tornado warning for Northampton County yet, but I'm thinking they probably will because the signature is looking a bit impressive. So again, if you're watching from Weldon, the Jackson community, Seaboard, Conway, they'll probably issue a tornado warning, so we'll let you know about that. But the couple that looks a little bit tighter, let me go back in time so we can see the evolution of this before the tornado warning was issued, and then you see the tornado warning issued. The couplet looks pretty decent, still looks decent, and still is maintaining its integrity. So we can understand why there's a tornado warning that's in effect. Now, this isn't the only thing that's going on. Let's broaden out the view and take a look at all the other activity out there. If you're watching from Wilson County, the Lucama area, also the northeastern part of Johnston County, we're seeing some heavy rain moving through. We can peek inside this and see what's going on. There's a little bit of small hail. Where you see the purple,